Thanks for checking out this video. So I really wanted to go through and talk about my top 10 releases for Vinegar Syndrome for 2023. Now, there is a disclaimer with this, that being that I didn't get every release that Vinegar Syndrome put out. I was only a subscriber halfway through, so I got everything included halfway through, but not the beginning. But I did go back and purchase some of those earlier ones, and I also have one in this list that I physically don't have currently, so I don't have a visual aid for that, but I am planning on buying because obviously it's one of my top. Now, when I say top 10, and I am having these ranked, this is just a personal opinion. You know, I'm not like objectively looking at it and saying, well, you know, this one had the best packaging plus special features and film quality, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going based off of what hit me as being the best releases. So it's really kind of, I'm saying my top 10, but it's really just my favorites in a way. So anyway, let me go ahead and get into it. Starting at the bottom with number 10 is Freeway 2. I know a lot of people weren't huge on this one, but I adore this film for how out there and ridiculous and over the top it really is. Natasha Lyonne is great in it, plus just the fact that this is Freeway 2 Confessions of a Trick Baby. The fact that you need the Confessions of a Trick Baby aspect is ridiculous. Wonderful film. It's just basically, do you like absurdist comedy? Which is basically what this is. It's horror, it's comedy, it's absurd, it's very over the top. And where the original Freeway, which I also do like, goes off of the story of Little Red Riding Hood, this one goes off of the Hansel and Gretel story. And it, you know, if you go in knowing that, you definitely can see that in the film. But it's a really messed up version, obviously, with lots of puke, too. The whole puke thing is just wild to me. There's one puke scene in particular that's just something. A sight to behold, you could say. The special features on this are really good, too, because they have interviews with Matthew Bright, the writer-director, who, if you listen to this guy talk, I could listen to this guy talk forever. He has lived a very interesting life. He has a very interesting backstory, and a lot of that comes out in his interview portions. It's also just interesting to hear what other people who worked on the film had to say about him and had to say about the project as well. So that's why my number 10 is Freeway 2. So going to my number 9, we're going into martial arts category, and that is the 4K of Undefeatable. Oh, by the way, Freeway 2, also a 4K. The 4K of Undefeatable. I just recently started getting into martial arts films, and after watching a decent amount of them, I realized I really enjoy Cynthia Rothrock and what she has done with her career, and this is a Cynthia Rothrock film. This one is kind of going with the theme of what I was talking about with Freeway 2. It's very ridiculous. It's very over the top. I mean, you can just tell by this guy's look on his face. It has horror elements to it too, which is very interesting, but it's just kind of balls to the wall, fun, ridiculous. Obviously, the martial arts in it, choreography is really, really good because anything having to do with Cynthia Rothrock with martial arts is going to be really good, but there's a lot of other people, great people involved as well. But the film is just ridiculous over the top. The other thing is the special features are great. Just like Matthew Bright with Freeway 2, I could listen to Cynthia Rothrock talk all the time. She's very fascinating. She seems like a super nice person. And I just love the interviews with her on this, as well as hearing from other people who are involved with it. So that's why my number 9 is Undefeatable. My number 8 is one that I was excited to get it, but I didn't know how it would end up playing out for me, and that is Gorgo. Also, I like the packaging on this one. The packaging is nice, except the inside, alternate, the other slipcover just looks really bad. They should have done a little bit more with that. It's just really dark and doesn't show a whole lot, but I know it's supposed to be underwater, but... So Gorgo, I had never seen this film before. I didn't know much about it. It's basically, a Godzilla knockoff film, but it does its own thing. It's actually very unique for its time. The characters are really interesting in the film. What happens in the end with Gorgo, the monster, is really different for its time, and they actually talk about that a lot in the special features as well, which is great. And there's even a special feature with a comic book artist, I think his name's Stephen Bissett, who goes over the history of Gorgo, because apparently Gorgo was in comics as well, and there was merchandising and all sorts of stuff like that. So getting that rich history and backstory on it really added to the experience of the film. But I love the film itself initially as well. So really big fan of this one. Didn't see this one coming as being a top 10 for the year potentially, but it is. It's my number 8, Gorgo. Really good. So the next one is the one I don't physically have. And the reason I don't physically have it is because with these films, if they're still over 1,000 in stock, I typically don't buy them unless they're on a very good sale. So my number 7 is Primal Rage, which is still over 1,000 in stock for the slipcover version, and I loved it. So obviously I haven't seen any of the special features. I cannot speak to that. I'm assuming they're going to be a lot of fun. It's an Italian-made film about disease outbreaks starting with a monkey in a lab, and it has Bo Svensson in it. I guarantee there are special features involving Bo Svensson because they also had him being interviewed for Beyond the Door 3 that they put out, and he's another guy I could listen to talk forever. He has very interesting things to say. But Primal Rage as a film just really grabbed me. It's definitely in that category of like a so bad it's good film, but it's one of those so bad it's good Italian-made films where they think that, you know, American culture is just very over the top and America in general is over the top. And I love those types of films where they try to make it feel American, but it is Italian made. I think that was a film that actually Umberto Lenzi was involved in writing it, which I mainly just know Umberto Lenzi from the Giallo films that he had written and directed. But Primal Rage, so much fun. The film becomes a lot more than you think it's going to be. It is also a little bit over the top and balls to the wall, but it's a really super fun time. I think literally it's the most fun film that I saw from any of the releases of Vinegar Syndrome throughout the year. So that's why Primal Rage is my number 7. Now going to number 6, there's a lot of hubbub about this packaging itself, and it is phenomenal packaging, and that is A Blade in the Dark. I was just talking about Giallo, and this is a really good Giallo that actually I was wanting to have in my collection for a while, but there wasn't a good release of it. It was only on DVD. And at one point I was thinking about getting it on DVD, but then I just didn't. And it was still in my mind I was going to do it, but then this came along, and I'm so happy because obviously, in addition to being a film that I wanted to add anyway, you have this amazing case, and on the back, a lot of people didn't realize this on the back, that a knife comes through, which is a part of the film when you move that. People just point to the front because it's the most glaring thing, but a lot of great special features on here, getting some insight into what was happening with the film itself. I know a lot of people say nowadays this is a problematic film for a certain reason I'm not going to say if you haven't seen the film, but, you know, it's one of those things we need to remember the time at which films were made, you know, and we've come so far and we have further to go, unfortunately. But this is a great Giallo film, a lot of fun. There's a lot of brutality to it as well if you're looking for those types of kills. Also, the way they use the soundtrack or the score in the film is very meta and fun and interesting, and it's just a great Giallo film. So if you like Giallo, or this looks kind of interesting to you, I'd check this one out. But A Blade in the Dark is my number 6. So now going to number 5. I gotta readjust where I'm sitting. Now going to number 5. This is one that, like, no one's talking about. People said things about it when it initially came out by Vinegar Syndrome, and we're like, oh, wow, look at this. This is interesting. And then after that, I haven't heard a peep from anyone. But it's my number 5. It's really good. I just watched through these. The Piotr Zolkin Apocalypse Tetralogy. First of all, the packaging. Let's all talk about how amazing this packaging is. It also includes a booklet in there along with it, and there's not a lot of special features on it. I haven't gotten to the special features yet because I literally just went through all these films this past weekend. And it's, the special features are like video essays, which I'm all for video essays, so I know I'm going to really like them. But the films in here are very cohesive. It's called the Apocalypse Tetralogy. They all are very apocalyptic in their subject matter, in how they look and how they feel. They're very like dark and industrial looking with their shooting locations. But the films are really good themselves. 2 of the films in here I would give 3.5 stars out of 5, and 2 of them I would give 4 out of 5 stars. So the quality of the movies in this, really, really high. And the fact that you got 4 of them, also the price on this, $43 for 4 films and a booklet. and obviously special features and this really nice packaging. Blows my mind. This is phenomenal. I can't believe more people aren't talking about it. What a great release. Like I said, the films themselves are really, really good. It's dark stuff, though. It's like dark and depressing stuff because, Apocalypse. But it says a lot about society and kind of like the issues of people living in a society that's not great, that usually is kind of like autocratic or fascist, and kind of the things that people come up with in their minds, like the delusions that people play into in order to give themselves hope that there will be something better. But there's a lot of not great. The best way to say this, it's depressing. There's not a lot of hope in any of these films, except some in the final film, which is Glory to Heroes, I think is what it was called. Let me look. Gaga, I think it's A Glory to Heroes, which was my favorite one, actually, of the set. But it had a lot more comedy to it, and it was absurdist, so that one's more on the fun, light side. Other than that, pretty depressing. But really great box set, Apocalypse Tetrology by Piotr Zolkin. Polish filmmaker, that's another thing I wanted to say. These are all these Polish films, so they're subtitled. That's my number 5. Now, coming into number 4, we have Showgirls. I had actually not seen Showgirls prior to purchasing this. I kind of asked some people who I trust, do I really need to get this film? And they're like, look, you like So Bad It's Good films. You got to check it out. It's excess. Have you seen Paul Verhoeven's stuff? You'll like it. So, and speaking of Paul Verhoeven, good interview in the special features with Paul Verhoeven that gives you a really interesting understanding of why he did this film and what he was trying to get out of it. In addition to that, they have great artwork for this one. They also have a booklet in there as well. They had to send out a replacement disc, unfortunately, because they had an issue with the audio. But great film if you're into So Bad It's Good and excess movies. It's ridiculous. As one person had told me, it's kind of like Gina Gershon was the only person in the cast who really understood the type of film that Paul Verhoeven was going for, making it ridiculous, making it over the top, going to excess. And if you're a nudity fan, there is no shortage of nudity in this. Someone's nude like almost the entire movie. Basically, it's ridiculous. It's wild to think that this film actually came out when it did and got a theatrical release. It's something, but this one's great. The packaging is amazing. It's a good time. And the special features are very insightful. So that's why my number 4 pick, Showgirls. Now my number 3 pick is a film that I was unbelievably excited to see when they announced it as a release. It's a film that I've loved for a long time. A lot of people had not seen. A lot of people probably still haven't seen it, so you should pick this one up. And that is the Hong Kong film Biozombie. This is a very low-budget Hong Kong zombie film that has a lot of comedy to it, intentionally, and it has so much heart to it. It ends up becoming so much more of a film than you would think it's going to be based off the premise. It's zombies in a mall in Hong Kong. There's some really good camera work in this film. There's some really fun acting that's over the top, like because of the comedy aspects of it. But it's a great film. I'd had this on DVD for a long time, and when I saw this pop up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to do an upgrade to Blu-ray now? That's phenomenal. So I highly recommend this one, and Biozombie is my number 3 pick. Love it. Now, my number 2 pick, I heard a lot of hate online, or saw a lot of hate online for this movie when it was announced, and I hadn't seen it before, and I was like, oh, it seems like maybe it can be fun, but a lot of people aren't liking it. I don't know how this is going to be. I watched it and I loved it. I was like, this is a great film, and that's Killer Condom. This movie is so much more than you would think it is. First of all, let's talk about the packaging is phenomenal, including that. You're also getting a lot of extra this type of stuff. It is obviously ridiculous. This is the type of movie where you hear the title and you're thinking, okay, it's just ridiculous. It's going to be stupid. It's going to be all like over the top idiotic comedy. There is that to it, but it also feels very polished. And there's legit good filmmaking in this. And there's legitimately good acting in this, like great acting actually. And there's a purpose for the whole film in the end as well. There's a really great message that comes out of this that I was not expecting and is, I wouldn't say it's profound at this point, but it's something that a lot of people will see and be like, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. At least the way it's said. There's literally a monologue at the end that nails the point of the film. But it is so much fun. It has so much heart to it. It's so well done. And this was a big surprise. So I really loved it. Killer Condom, my number 2. And now a lot of people can probably guess what my number 1 is, especially if you've been watching my videos, because I said I was very excited about this one. I think when I did put out the short review of it, I said it was one of, if not the best release by Vinegar Syndrome for 2023, and that is Existen. I know there's some people who didn't really like this one, but this is a film I've already liked before. I have it on VHS. Where I was saying the Biozombie, I still have it on DVD. I still have this on VHS. So this is a amazing upgrade for me. This is the packaging that they decided to do like a flesh texture on, which is a cool idea. Comes with really cool artwork. Also comes with a cool booklet. Really good special features on here that kind of gives you insight into how like practical effects were done and some other people who worked on the film and their thoughts about the film in general. Really fun stuff. I really love this film. It's David Cronenberg, and it was very surprising to see that Vinegar Syndrome got a David Cronenberg film to put out. This is one that a lot of people actually haven't seen, so I understand why they were able to get this one, but it is a very good film. And I was wondering when I got this, am I just remembering the film as being better than it is because I watched it so long ago? But that's not the case. I watched it and I still loved it. I think this film is deep. In a few ways, it's actually very poignant now, probably more poignant now than it was when it came out, and very well acted. I mean, you have like Jennifer Jason Leigh in it and Jude Law. Really, really good. I think there's, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe's in it as well. I mean, come on. That cast alone should sell you on this. Now, unfortunately, this version of it has been sold out, and same with Showgirls, same with the Apocalypse Tetralogy. So they're still available, the movies, so I obviously recommend all these. But my number 1, Existens, love it. So that's my list. And this is where I would love to hear from you. I'm always interested to hear what people have as their ranked list. Or, you don't even have to rank it. Or you can even just do a top 10, you can do top 5, top 3, even just number 1 for you for Vinegar Syndrome releases. And again, you don't have to have seen everything or even the majority of stuff, because like I said, I didn't get everything from them in 2023. This is just of what I got, what I liked the most, my top 10. I did see a decent amount though. But anyway, thank you everyone for checking this out. Go ahead and put down comments. Do me a favor, hit subscribe to my channel, hit a like on this video if you want to help it get out there and have more eyeballs on it. And you can hit the notification bell button so you know when I'm putting up new videos. But regardless, thank you so much for checking this out. I do appreciate it. And until next time, keep it brutal.